What's going on, peeps? It's Fizz. So, we're back to another topic, and it's why everything matters. Every step, movement, or even thought process that contributes to your life and your well-being, and where you plan to take that, or where it will where it will lead you. Everything small eventually leads to something big. You don't usually just go to something big. It can happen spontaneously, but that's usually not the case, and it usually happens in gradual steps. And people who get success real quick, or success with something that's familiar with them, because everyone has a different definition of it, and it's different amongst everybody. So one person's success could not mean something to somebody else, or someone could deem it small, whatever the case may be. Where I'm getting at, though, and sometimes people get to like big things really quick, but there could be downfalls of this, such things as ultimately they weren't ready for this big humongous step. They're not ready for it. Whether it was maybe fame, or handling a big amount of corporation, or just the job in general, money, or just not being able to maintain the task, fulfill it. And this is a thing when people, maybe blow up, or just get a big rush to a goal that they may not be ready for. And I'm not saying this is the case for a lot of people, but few people get to the top instantaneously and they don't know how to handle it. It's as simple as that. There may be some people who do know how to handle it, but you live and you learn ultimately. And a lot of people, again, aren't going to be familiar with the terrain, and that just makes all the more sense. They don't know how to handle it. And like I said, the case is different from everybody, the circumstances, and the importance of the actual matter. And anyone can overcome anything. But usually, even then, if you think it's an enormous task, something that not everybody's doing, or maybe someone else put blood, sweat, and tears in it, but still ain't there, or never got there. It's different from everybody, and it's definitely not equal. Some of it is chance, and again, it's distributed differently between everybody. Someone could work their whole life for $100,000, but someone could overnight come up with an idea that gets them $1 million. And let's just say both their goals were to obtain money. But what are their reasonings behind it? How did they come up with the money, or the idea of getting money? And what did it contribute to them? And also, what did it really matter? And I think these are things that take into definition and what really defies a person. Usually, for the most part, you do have to do some sort of practice, because practice is what makes perfect. What you're achieving for is practice, and this coincides with the journey, because you never really want to reach the goal or be perfect, for that matter, because that's the whole point, is to keep going. There's no such thing as perfection, but in portrayal, much as like the media likes to coexist, or maybe in Instagram or photo editing, movies, TV shows, or just rumors, make things glorifying and mystic and almost overly challenging. But in reality, that's not true. The picture that's painted for perfectedness isn't real. It's just for you to keep going, to strive for. Yes, you can complete a goal, but then ultimately you're either going to create another goal or you're going to stay there, and you're always going to keep going. Now, these aren't the same things when I talk about perfection, because people are always, looking for perfection, but someone's perfection, again, is completely different than another's, and the definition coincides with a whole humongous different categories and labels and achievements that's unrecognizable between other people, whether it's your best friend, your peers, your colleagues, your ex-co-workers, ex-girlfriends, wives. It's always different. What everyone thinks, it's always going to be that way. That's because thinking is just a habit, whereas being is kind of just seeing without thought. And there's nothing wrong with analyzing things and analyzing yourself. Being just there in a moment without judgment and egoless is what people in the spiritual community call being spiritual, almost. Without ego or without judgment. Pretty same in particular. And these matters mean different things to different people. And positivity, reinforcing itself to keep going, is great. It may not work all the time to your benefit of the doubt, but being negative is going to draw energy away from you and take it away from you, and you're not going to feel as great. That's what happens when you start not positive thinking or negative thinking. There is a distance between positive and negative thinking, but there's not a category, so we can just call it neutral. But if you're calling yourself ugly and saying you can't do it, or other people are putting you down and you're falling into it, you're falling into that energy, that vortex, that funnel, they're taking that away from you. And same with your own thoughts, you're going against yourself. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be the least resistance, like water, and you're supposed to let things flow and be in a natural rhythm. And it's okay if you're not, or you fall out of it. That's the heart of perfectedness, is to keep trying to achieve that. Some people get it. Some people have no clue they're doing it and may be in it all the time. Some people fall out of it and want to get back to it. Some people have no clue about it. And everyone feels the same about things. But as I was saying, kind of going with like the ego, or just using your thoughts against you, if you're happy and springy, then everything in your life is going to be less full in love. You're not just going to love your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your house and your car. You'll love everything. And that's kind of what a lot of spiritual people get at, whether you want to say Jesus or some modern day guru or even Buddhist. They see everything as love and life and everything. And you'll take life out of yourself, hence energy, if you go against yourself and you put yourself down. And like I said, there's no categorizing between the two. It's more so neutral when we look at positive or negative. But how easier is something going to be able to do if you have spirits around you, just people. Let's say you're trying to lift a certain weight and whatever, or just lift something, and there's a bunch of people around you just like mascotting you, parading you on, and making you feel good, just giving you that positive energy. They're sending it to you. It is a real thing, and it's not pseudoscience or something made up. People giving that energy, chanting you on, and then in your head, as you're trying to lift that item, people are saying, oh, or in your head, you're reinforcing it. Say, I can do this. I can do this. And you're not undermining it. You're going along with it. Whether you have a thought in your head or not while you're doing it, but the people's energy around you, and just even the act of you, again, thinking you can do it, it's going to merely make you do it or put you in a progression towards it. Whereas undermining it and putting yourself back is going to make things worse. And to get into another example of, going against yourself would be not wanting to do something, which that's fine, but I had something else, but we'll get into this. When you do something small, it's always going to accumulate no matter what it is. Everything has karma, but it's not exactly in the way you think of it. It's just energy that's being sent around in the cycle of life. So, to the basis of this message, the small things matter. So whatever it is, even let's say you can't, for some reason, you're really sick and you can't really move, or you're feeling real down, depressed, and again, your body's going against yourself, or maybe your thoughts are going against yourself, telling you can't do this or that. And I'm sure your whole life you've heard people saying you can't do this and that. Now here's where the game changer comes in. Let's just say you couldn't move, but every movement counts. So maybe you got up and started stretching and doing some slow movements, gentle ones, and then boom, you're gonna, even if that's all you can do, that's fine. But then let's say after that, you got up, and then after your stretching or gentle movements, you had a positive reinforcement, which it is, and then you go do something else, whether talk to somebody, then who knows, now you're outside and you're walking for 5 minutes, and then you feel like, okay, I can push it for 10 minutes, and then so on, and then you have a creativity thought from being outside in nature, and then you got maybe it was sunny out and you got some sun. Now everything's reinforced, your body's relaxed, your whole physiology changes, everything's not as tense anymore, you feel good, you're taking fresh air, you're breathing deeper, and just the whole environment is uplifting you, aka spirits, and it's energizing you, and all of a sudden you have energy, and who knows, now you hit a workout, or you got creativity to go do something that you wanted to do that you've been holding off, and you go forth to do it. And this can go to so many things. You could even hit a workout, or you could go apologize to someone or forgive someone now, because the energy's there and the reinforcement's there. And this leads into other things and other things. A lot of it's in your head, and I do have a video about it, but it's not necessarily the context of where I'm getting at. The small steps just bring about bigger things and bigger actions. Everybody's always concerned about like a bigger goal and a bigger thing. That's only something to you. You created that in your mind. No one has, and it seems so far off to get to that goal. And it is really possible if you set it in your mind. You can achieve it. You can believe in anything. But as you set it in your mind, only you have that set in your mind. No one else knows that or feels that unless you tell them that or they see that in you. But that's not their job. Whether they recognize it or not, or they dispute you or try to put you down and spread that negativity, whether they're drawing energy, they don't know your goals and your plans. That's why everything matters. Just as being nice to somebody or to something, and having positive thoughts, whether they can hear you with your actual voice or not. I can thank someone right now. I could thank God. I could thank my mother, whether she's here physically or not, whether she's dead or not here. The energy is still here, and that's what you need to pertain in your mind. You don't want to set the energy against yourself. So whether you want to see it as positive thinking or negative, I know I keep laying back on this, but it kind of makes more sense now that I'm diving deeper. And it's hard to understand to a degree, but when you look at it as neutral, that energy is always cycling. And how do you want that energy to cycle? Such as someone who has a lot of energy and someone who has no energy, there is a vibration difference and maybe a frequency, but someone lower and higher, there's not necessarily something, they're still the same energy, they're just frequenting at a different rate, which is frequency. they're moving at a different rate. That's why everybody says all is one. We're all made of the same thing. Sorry for the loud truck. We're all composed of the same thing, and we always will be. Yeah, and there's different needs psychologically, whatever, but fundamentally, all the energy is made from the same thing, and it all makes sense. If we're all made from different things, then we wouldn't coexist with each other. There wouldn't be an ecosystem. There wouldn't be an environment. And this is a perfect way to look at it. If you look at an ecosystem, when something goes wrong, such as like a species of frogs living in an ecosystem in nature, something goes wrong, such as the frog population dies off. Something else, such as cause and effect, happens, or let's say the frogs die off. There's not going to be, something else is going to happen. Maybe something that eats the frog, such as the bird. Now they're starving. So the whole cycle is going to be changed in the ecosystem. You know, maybe the water gets more dirty now. It's going to affect even the small bacteria, the smallest living organisms. It's going to affect the people, the bigger organisms, the whole species. It's not just going to be the frogs that are affected. Everyone's affected, and it's always that way. And that's how energy is. Whether you want to be like, what is it, stoic, I'm not sure what the word is, and you don't want to care about anything, that's great too. But ultimately, it's what defines you. Caring is, sharing and love. It is real, and it's a real frequency. Whether you care about vibrations or you don't want to be unloved at all, it does matter. And how you reach out to someone and how you treat someone, not just someone, but everybody and everything, the whole world, and your whole mind, your spirit and yourself is what is recognized and real. This is realization along with self-awareness. And we can even go as far as to say this is spirituality. Everybody's going to feel something different about everything, but that's, that is a feeling, and that coexists just to the individual person, and needs are going to vary. But the fundamental message of God, divine love, prayer, security, and happiness, everyone wants that, and everyone already has that. It's a natural state of being, and it's in all of us. Some people lost it. Some people talk about the fallen angels. Some people got distracted or obsessed, addicted. Many things come into play, to this. Or someone threw them out the loop. And then once you come back to it, which ultimately we're all going, which is death, but it's stillness, it's stagnantness. That's why a lot of people, and you might not see it because a lot of it's subliminal, is like the snakes, the cobras. They're, silent. They hear off a reverberation, and it's all based on feeling and the vibrations that are giving off. And they're so still, but they're so alert all the time. And this is why a lot of things on the medical things, you always see the snake on there. But it's all over too. It's on all the religions. Even Adam and Eve, you hear about the snake. But it's all the same. It's actually a good thing. And again, whether it's not good or bad, but people see snakes as bad or they're afraid of them, that's not necessarily true at all. No one wants to, some people might get scared, but that's around a snake. And this is a perfect example. You might get scared around a snake or a bear. It doesn't matter what it is, but snakes can feel, and it's same with everything in the ecosystem, the flowers, the vibrations that you give off, the air, the atmosphere, how it gives off, and other people can throw it off or try to. The whole world, the whole aura, everyone has an aura, but the world has one too, and it's all coexisting with one another. Hey, I'm walking my dog, well, the dog that I'm walking, and as you can see, and it's with the flowers and the wind, the air, whatever you want to say. But if you're around a snake or a bear, or even a shark, if it sees that you're nervous, that's why these things get a bad reputation. If they see that you're nervous, then, they're going to act differently. It's going to make them nervous. They're not or it's going to make them act. It's just going to make them react, as in a cause and effect. Whether they get nervous, they're just going to, at the fundamental, rudimentary, they're going to show some reaction. They're either going to run away, or they're going to go towards you, or they're going to be still, or they're going to get nervous and do something instinctual. And that's why, if you're nervous, a shark might bite you. If you're not calm, and this is the whole thing I go over, calm, cool, and collective, but the base meaning of this, in control. If you're in control, then you're in control, and you're not going to get nervous. You're not going to start panicking or let anxiety take over you. Hence, you're going to be in control. And then I just want to root back to where I was starting at all of this over here. It's like, again, every step matters, whatever it is, and it's just one thing. Don't be focused. It's good to have a focus on a goal or a super big goal, whatever it is. Changing the world, going in a career path, helping somebody get up, and whether it's obtaining a certain amount of money, it's all the same. And you got to reinforce yourself with positivity, but just more so, just know every step matters. Just one step, it really matters. Though it might be easy for some people to take a step. Some people can't even take steps. Some people are disabled. Some people are trying, lost legs. Now they got a prosthetic leg, and they're relearning to take steps. And there's an experience, like every step. Or somebody who just, something happened to their legs, and they're rehabilitating, and now they're stepping again. It's completely different. It's just like a baby. Look at a baby, and I always say this. They're, soon to be wise, but they are wise. They are taking steps too. They are, and they might not even consciously know it. But they probably do, though. And it's just all these things going on with the small steps, they really lead to big ones. Not everybody has a hit song. They used so many songs. They recorded so many songs. Some songs they probably threw away. Some songs they didn't, just threw to the side. Save them. Maybe they were hits. Maybe the songs they threw away were a hit, or gonna get popular. Or maybe the person just didn't like them. Maybe they have half-completed songs. But the fact is, they tried to make a song and kept doing it. An artist can have thousands of songs, but only one of them be a hit. So maybe he had to make 999 songs to get to the thousandth one, which was a hit. And it's, someone could make a song and it could be, the first song could be a hit. Yeah. And that could deter people. Like, why can I make a song that happens in one hit? Well, it's different from everybody in the amount of focus and the attention and just the convenience of time that's going on. There's so many other factors that play into it. This person could have already been popular, or had an audience, or just had a real good chance. Or maybe they could have been practicing, and then maybe the song that they did maybe was just a hit. Whereas compared to someone who made 1,000 songs, or someone who never had to do more than 1,000 songs. It's about to keep going and pushing at the end of the day. And if your heart's behind it, what even matters most, because nothing else matters if your heart's not behind it. If it is, then you're in good hands. I would get that situated before anything. And like I said, everyone always wants their end goal to happen. But if you get to your end goal, what's going to happen? Most likely, and this is like the start of it, so I guess this is a good way to end it, you're not going to be ready for it, more than likely. And that's not a good thing, and that's not a bad thing. Again, you're not going to be ready for what's to come. That's why you practice, and that's the whole point of practicing. Like, people who get ready for a big show, they have smaller shows or smaller audiences to know how to handle it. So when they get to a big one, it's easy. They've already done it. For anyone that's performing, on stage, whatever it is. Some people naturally just have more confidence or more, solitude and solid. Some people just naturally have different. Some people got to strive for it. But Don't strive to be like someone else. Strive to be who you want to be. Be like yourself. Don't let no one push you, especially your parents, push you down or change your direction in a way that's not benefiting you or not where you want to go, because ultimately where your heart lies. Everyone has a heart, even the darkest people, the cruelest people, the rapists, the psychotics, whoever you want to consider them as, the child molesters. Even the darkest of the dark has the light. They have to. It's just not, and things happen in people's life, different circumstances that change people in certain ways, and some don't know any better. Some were never taught. Some were taught to be child molesters, rapists, murderers. You can't, if that's all someone knows, it's kind of hard to someone to get out of that bubble and their train of thought. And even the lightest people, the happiest people, the most joyful people, like I said, even the darkest people, the most evil that you want to say, the most corruption, there is a heart in them. There is light. They wouldn't be living. Both have to coincide. Masculine and feminine are in both people. Light and darkness are in both people. Now, the severity of one, the extremity, might go, that's the difference. That's what makes someone that, even the happiest, most loving, most spiritual person, even Jesus, probably had to forgive, had to sin, had to be rebirthed. Even he had to. And even the most lightest, most loving person, they still have darkness in them, but they can override it, they can overcome, or it doesn't affect them. They know how to control it. You're in control at the end of the day. And it's far different from discipline, but they have some similarities. So don't get that twisted. And this is a big thing. People are in control. You know these people are in control. They know what they want. You see them with the girl, or you see them with the life that they want, or that you may want. They're just in control of the life. They're not letting outside things conclude their life or their thoughts. They're in control. And it's just simple as that. And like I said, there's always both sides, but which one are you going to exuberate? Which one are you going to be really into? And that's a matter of control and reinforcing the positive steps and thinking. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people beat themselves like a dead horse, put themselves down, let one thing control their lives, let someone else says, or a group of people. Even if the whole world's against you, you hear it a million times. Even if the world is against you, so what? They're against you for a reason. And let it be their reason. They all could be wrong and you could be right. And even if you were wrong, they should be accepting and apologetic at the same time, or they should be trying to help you. And as you see, it goes both ways. It's not just one way. And you may be right all along, and they may ask forgiveness from you, and it'd be right to forgive them. Again, with the perfect picture, making conclusions, there is no such definite thing. There is no defined thing, because energy flows free, just like water. Wherever you put it takes any shape. It can even go to a solid. It can even go to a gas. And ultimately, it is a gas, and it's all around us, above us, below us. It's in the air. We breathe it in all the time. It's always moving. It's always flowing, whether it's slowly or heavily, rapid or mild. It's always going. And water, you put it in a pot, it takes the place of a pot, in a jar, in a tub. It always takes the place. And we are consistently made up of 60% water, 70%. We are made up of a lot of water. But the water never reaches the end point. It always goes. Always goes. Especially rivers, ocean, tides, winds, they all move it. The effects of the moon and sun on it, life never stops is where I'm getting at. And again, with the water, even if water gets stagnant, there's places like the Grand Canyon, or rivers that used to be way bigger, or creeks that aren't there anymore, streams, tributaries. These things, even if water gets stagnant, what's it do? It doesn't, energy never dies. Water vanishes into thin air, but it's still there. It goes up to the clouds and it comes back down. or it gets absorbed by something else, the water ultimately never dies, and we never die, and our energy doesn't. Our spirits and soul are all the same and all one. It's consistency of energy, and it never ultimately, like I said, dies. You probably heard Albert Einstein, I think, and I don't have to quote him to make it reinforce it, but just to give you a benefit of doubt, he says energy can't be created or destroyed. It's already there. It's already in the environment, in the sky, and it just gets reinforced back into. That's the whole thing about rebirth and realizing and reanalyzing. So that's all I have to say about this video. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed day. Stay subscribed to the channel. If you aren't, do subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. If you have any thing you'd like me to discuss, let me know. Check out some other videos. This isn't my only one. Give me a like. Give yourself a like. Live your life to your circumstances and how you win it. Get in control too. Thanks for tuning in. Have a blessed day.